Let me tell you a little bit of a scary story before we start. So, some time ago, before the internet, we did not have, well, I wasn't there in the 90s, but back then there were no such thing as advanced controllers like the Xbox 360 controller. They did not have such beauties such as this, no. Instead, they had something far more sinister. They had something known as the Nintendo 64 controller. A controller once loved by many in a different generation, and now either despised or still loved from the previous generation or the current generation. Maybe not the current generation, where you have a bunch of babies who know nothing about the old electronics and stick with the new, but at least the generation that enjoys and admires old electronics. And this is where we get into another spooky game. Okay, are we done? Okay, let's stop that there. Happy Halloween, nerds, furries, and normies of the internet. And so, I have a I'm pretty sure you get the idea. We are reviewing, indeed, Doom 64 on, the Nintendo 64. Now, Doom on the Nintendo 64 is really interesting to me because I'm pretty sure it happens to be one of the mature-rated games to ever be ported into a family-friendly game console known as the Nintendo 64. Now, back then, Nintendo was really serious with their work because they don't really want mature-rated games for their family-friendly consoles. I mean, we just want to have kids keep playing games of a minimum wage plumber who just goes through sewers and shit just to save a princess who probably does not give a deep shit about him, but some dragon who just keeps kidnapping her. But that's another story for another time. Maybe not. But anyways, Doom 64, why would you want to play as a minimum wage plumber if you could play as some space guard on Mars just blasting demons away? Doom, really, saying the name Doom. I mean, I learned it from Angry Video Game Nerd, but you get the idea. Doom on the Nintendo 64. I mean, why are we even talking about it? Let's port this bad boy on right now. Alright, now it's time to kick ass and play some Doom. Alright, we're on the Nintendo 64. This is not going to get annoying at all. Now, before we even do anything, we have to try out a little bit of soda. But since we're doing a little bit of a 90s game review, we cannot be drinking Mountain Dew because that's not really 2000s. Instead, I picked out a special kind of soda that's probably kind of considered 90s. I mean, the Pib, the Pib Extra. Oh shit. Not bad. Not bad. I guess I know what the 90s tastes like. The spooky 90s. Okay, let's play the game. Whoa, hold on. Why are we starting off at a weird, creepy setting over here? Oh, that's right. I did not mention that Doom 64 is not like any other Doom game that you might have played. You see, in some of the Doom games, when you hear the name Doom, you might recognize some of the popular music behind the games. Like the original song when you first played Doom, or Into Sandy City. But in here, it's not like that, so you can kiss that lovely rock music bye-bye. Now, there might be a moment in time when people first buy Doom 64, they were expecting to listen to some hardcore rock music while slaying demons, but
It's not like that, so they'll get pissed off and want a refund. However, it's actually not a bad idea to not include music into the game at all. I mean, just think about it. If you just add hardcore rock music while slaying demons, it doesn't really feel creepy enough. Because if you have like rock music playing in the background, it's like you have hope that you'll be able to complete the game in no time. But instead, if we just add some like a creepy atmosphere in the background where there's nothing but machines and demons and you can't even figure out where that sound is coming from, then yeah, that's probably realistic enough. But that does not mean that you won't be able to beat the game though, because there's actually a good selection of weapons like the shotgun, the pistol, and a two-bladed chainsaw. I mean, how kick-ass is that? I mean, just check out how satisfying it is with a two-bladed chainsaw. With something as satisfying as that, I still wonder how Nintendo was able to port this into their own console. Now, I guess the weirdest thing you could find, at least one of them, is at least a soul orb. At least I think that's what they're called. You see, you click on this computer thingy in a secret room where you also gain some health bonuses. And then you click on the computer thingy, and there you have it, this orb with a face that's just staring directly at your soul or something. Very creepy, right? Well, what if you just ran towards it? That's right, all you have to do is just go to this spot right here where the button's at, grab a pistol, you shoot at the button. Just kidding, I was acting like an idiot. You actually jump over it, press it, and you run down to where the chamber is at, and then you'll be able to see the orb right in front of you. Once you ran towards the orb, you just get a supercharge, which doesn't really do much, but just increase your health to 200, which I guess is nice and everything, but it could have been better if it boosted up to at least 300 or like maybe 5. Now, I guess that would have been unfair, but at the same time, at least at a minimum of 300 or at least 250. Now, you want to hear something that's actually shocking? Doom 64 is not the most controversial game for Nintendo 64. No, it was actually Conker's Bad Fur Day, which, if you didn't know, it was a game that's more of a adult game than Doom 64 because of how violent it was. Like, more violent than Doom. More, like, adult-wise. Like, it had a lot of dirty jokes and stuff. And I don't know, there was like a lot of stuff added to the game that you probably can't show on YouTube. Like, that's how bad it was. And you want to know the weirdest part? They advertised this in a bar where they also sold like condoms with the branding name on them. If Doom 64 had some kind of better advertisement, which I guess they couldn't back then, they could have at least sold some t-shirts or like beer mugs or all that cool stuff. No, a custom themed Nintendo 64 controller. That would have been cool. Look, I know this is supposed to be a Halloween video and everything, but they don't really make advertisements of video games like they did back then. Now, I'm not complaining, but they could at least put in a little bit more effort to advertise their games and even sell better merchandise.
Yeah, it's a really good game and everything. It's actually really spooky in some cases. Like, the atmosphere itself sets off a really disturbing feeling sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you hear nothing but the sound of zombies and demons just growling and just gurgling, and meanwhile the atmosphere itself just sets off a sound of, like, you know, machines whirling or like doing something in the background, and you just know even though there's just demons around, you're the only one alone on Mars or wherever the hell you're at. But it's like, why can't we just appreciate games like these, you know? Like, why can't we just look back at games like these and like give it some attention instead of like a bunch of other games that don't really seem that important at all? I mean, sure, there may be some games that actually look really fun and deserve the attention, but it's like either we focus too much on the new games or we focus too much on a popular old game that we forget some of the other ones. Like, we focus more on on Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time instead of some of the other games for the Nintendo 64 like snow racing, like snow skiing, or like Flight Simulator for the Nintendo 64. Why can't we look back on those? Were they not fun, or did we just forget about them? I guess we figured out what was really scary this Halloween, folks. No blood intended. Kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they were able to make a scary movie without showing any blood at all. Or blood from the victims. Instead, they just made it really scary because of the atmosphere. And what also made it really scary for this video, I think I just explained it all. So, am I going trick-or-treating? No, probably not. But I do have candy corn over there, and I do have some soda, and the games to play around with. So I guess that concludes this Halloween. So, my lesson, or my advice, don't go trick-or-treating. Those kids suck. Do not give them what they want. They could be brats, they could be nice, I don't care, don't give them anything. Happy Halloween, nerds and furries, and I'll see you next time at another episode. I got you, didn't I? You coward. Happy Halloween, losers.